Welcome to the overnight edition of From Day One, and Art Bell is back, so let's rock in the middle.
I could see a hat and a face and kind of like just shoulders, square shoulders, and long and black. I couldn't discern any arms or legs, but what I later determined and what I later found out, which is the really interesting part of the story, is that someone very close to me had put a hex on me.
Oh.
And I wasn't a big believer in hexes, but I got it on pretty good word that this thing that followed me for so many years was a familiar, and this was a male that had put this hex on me. Was his familiar.
Was this some male that you had felt you had treated him incorrectly or something?
I had not. The male figure was actually my father.
Oh, your father?
My father.
Why would your father put a hoax on you?
A hex.
Or a hex. Sorry.
Well, I married someone that he didn't like.
Ah.
And that person was killed in a motorcycle accident, and he sold him the motorcycle.
Now, dads don't generally put hexes on daughters. I mean, it's not one of those things that a dad would do. Your dad must have been, well, what's the right word?
Well, it was hateful, spiteful.
Definitely hateful. You'd think he would put the hex on the husband.
He did, and he was killed.
Okay, so it was the both of you, really.
It was.
Yikes.
And there's many other things that go with that, and I'm not going to go into all of those because it'd take an awfully long time. But anyways, the Dick Tracy shadow figure stayed with me for many years. And, I tried to call in when you had Evelyn Paglini on several times, way back when.
Right. God bless her. I hope she is well. We are now looking for another Evelyn.
Well, I hope you find her. She really was a spiritual warrior, and I really admired her a lot. And I wanted to tell her my story so bad because, she was so knowledgeable on, these different groups and, all of that.
This is why I want a real witch.
Mm-hmm.
They know
a real one.
they know about spiritual warfare, and a lot of people call themselves witches. They're not spiritual warriors, and that's what I want because, frankly, a lot of the serious things are battles.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, thank you so very much. I appreciate your call. Good talking to you, and again, anything you want to talk about is fair game tonight. That was a good one. That was definitely a good one. Can you imagine that? A hex on the both of them. What daddy would do that to his daughter? I could understand a hex on the guy. But his own daughter. Wow. Let's go, I don't know where I'm going. It doesn't really matter. It says anonymous. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
It's funny you're doing this topic. I was going to call you on Friday. A few years ago, I had a serious problem with the shadow nonsense.
What is this? What? It's so common.
I know what it is, and I can tell you how to see it for yourself, and then I can tell you how to get rid of it.
Getting rid of it, part of it, I want to hear right away.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like getting out of sleep paralysis. The harder you fight it, the worse it gets. You have to relax and let go of the fear. And it's kind of the same thing with these things.
Right.
I saw one.
So how do you do that? How do you get rid of fear? I mean, when you see something that is pretty much not of this world, I mean, you can see through it and you can see other parts of the room, right? It's just a figure. I don't know how you conquer that fear because it's just abnormal.
What I did was the first time I saw the thing, it scared me to death. I mean, and I'm a fairly rational person, and I looked at this thing. I didn't blink. I didn't look away because I assumed it was one of those things where, my mind was mistaking shadows and making a shape that wasn't really there, like a coat rack looks like a guy standing there. Anyway, it wasn't that. And I never looked away from it, and the thing was standing in a stairwell, and it just kind of tipped back. And, I got up, I turned on all the lights, I got a gun, I freaked out. The next day I was telling somebody at work about it, and I never heard tell of a shadow person my entire life. And I was describing it to him, and he said, you know, that's a real thing. You got to look it up on the internet. People have seen these things. So I went home and looked it up. I thought, well, this is horrible. So the more research I did, I never found anybody that got hurt by one. There was never nobody was sent to a hospital by a shadow person. So I was resolved that the next time I saw one, I was going to do the same thing I did with sleep paralysis. It didn't hurt me the first time I saw it. I'm just going to assume it's not going to hurt me the second time I see it. I'm going to relax.
And so you did?
I did. And you can do this too if you can get rid of the fear. And the trick is to not look away.
Okay. What happened?
Okay.
You relaxed, and then what?
I relaxed. The second time I saw it, it was a praying mantis. And
wonderful. That would just cheer me right up.
Well, it sounds ridiculous. And what's weird is same height, same place, same kind of like standing in the shadows. But this time it was,
praying mantis.
Praying mantis like things on the wall.
Yeah, okay, so small, like you would have on the wall, or big?
No, it was like 8 feet tall. I mean, it was terrible. So
sure. I'd just relax away with that.
Well, I looked that one up too, and apparently in the area in which I was living at the time, that was something that people saw commonly. But anyway, I guess it has something more to do with the extraterrestrial experience. But all of that aside,
listen, I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt you. I'm 70. If what I saw had turned into a praying mantis, I'd be dead now. I don't know. You're talking this relaxation stuff. You're going to have to do better than that. I don't, once it turns into, I relax with the shadow, and it turns into a praying mantis, and you're telling me that was a good finish.
Well, yes and no. Now that I knew what I was dealing with, I mean, do a little more research, and the internet's your friend, but I went and did a little more research and found out this was another common experience that many people had had. And again, nobody had been hurt by one of these things.
Sometimes the internet's your friend. I remember back when I started this whole damn topic in the first place, long ago, I went and looked it up on the internet, and all it had was terrifying pictures of these shadow people. I didn't even think it was real when somebody first brought it up. I said shadow person. It's all over the internet.
But anyway, the way to get rid of it is positivity, and that sounds kind of cliched. The way I got rid of it was with Howard Jones music in 80s comedies. But it kind of feeds on – it seemed to get worse the more afraid I was. But the less consumed – because at the time when I was seeing these things, I was miserable. My life sucked, and I was upset about a few things. And it seemed to kind of show up more often the angrier I was. So I consumed myself with, I made sure I wasn't watching anything dark on television. I surrounded myself with, upbeat music. And anyway, it just kind of went away after that.
Okay.
I still see one occasionally, but I'm not afraid of it. It doesn't bother me. It's not this. But it seems to be you need to relax, get rid of the fear.
I would like to say that you have calmed me right down, but you have not. And nevertheless, I appreciate your attempt. Thank you very much.
Good luck. Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care. No, that didn't do it. I mean, the shadow person is terrifying enough, and then see it move or have it move on you and then be first to your right, then behind you, and then to your left. I just fled. Once I saw it to the left and it disappeared, and it did, I fled. And I've already told you. I went and got a gun, went all around, was prepared to try a shot if I saw it, and I didn't. That's probably how you end up shooting the wrong person or something. God, it was terrifying. And what if I had managed to somehow suddenly relax? Do you honestly think this thing, had it turned into a gigantic 8-foot praying mantis, would have relaxed me? No. Not even close. It would have finished me off for sure. Once again, if you're outside North America, that means America and Canada, anywhere in the rest of the world, it's really easy to get through. Just call us on Skype at MITD55, MITD55, outside the U.S. Love to hear from you. Stacked full of calls here in the U.S. And speaking of calls, in Ottawa something or another, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Hart. It's Rob from Ottawa.
Hey,
Roswell's to you.
Thank you.
I'm, I guess, one of your tasty Canadian time travelers.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. The first call you got after you made your
mission.
Yeah, you made your mission public. Yeah, I don't know if you asked if it's a shadow person or a ghost. I don't know. I'll tell you what happened to me quickly. Like I've seen, the corner of your eye thing.
Yes.
You see something there. We've all seen that. What made mine different, this thing went across the room. It went from left to right, like it didn't want to be seen.
Yeah, there you have it. I want to add something just real quickly.
Yeah.
This was not a corner of your eye thing. I mean, when I first noted that something was there present, it was a corner of my eye, but then I turned toward it and I saw the damn thing. Then I saw it behind me. It had form. It was real. It disappeared. It was then to the left of me and then gone.
No, mine was just like the other caller. It had no legs, no head. It was about waist high. It was a dark object. I was we had gone to Vancouver. We were staying in an older hotel, nice hotel, 1912, and we were on the 5th floor. I say that because there's no headlights at that floor. The drapes are very, very heavy, so I'm not getting any light. And I just happened to get up 2 in the morning, went to the bathroom, went into the small little kitchenette, grabbed some orange juice. Now, the reason I wasn't afraid probably because I was half asleep. I took my slug of orange juice, and I was appearing in from the kitchenette back in the living room. This thing just right across the room. And I went, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. And I wasn't afraid probably because I was half asleep. So I lied down. My wife's there. She's not moving at all. And it's a king bed. She's not moving at all. So I lie down, okay, and I'm just thinking about this thing. And then at the end of the bed, I feel some pressure. Not a lot of pressure.
Yes.
But a little bit of pressure.
Yes.
Now, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to look back. I'm thinking now, there's no way I'm going to look back. And I figured, okay, if this thing doesn't touch me, I'm not going to look back, and I'll just let it go. And I fell asleep, but there was definitely pressure at the end of my bed as well. How did you fall asleep?
Yeah, wait, how did you fall asleep? That'd be the last thing in the world I could do after that.
Well, I was tired. It was 2:30 in the morning. I felt a little pressure. I didn't want to look back. I just was afraid to see what I would find. So
I'm going to guess you're on a Bluetooth, right?
I'm on a Bluetooth. No,
yeah.
I'm on a cell phone. Yeah.
Cell phone. Okay.
Yeah. So I figured as long as the pressure doesn't become any more so, or this thing doesn't grab me, I'm not going to look back.
So you fell asleep, and when you woke up, everything was all right.
Everything was fine. I told my wife about it. I thought, and then I started trying to put pieces together. Okay, well, the curtains are heavy. There's no light. We're up on the 5th floor. I figured whatever this thing was, didn't want to be seen. Yeah. I figured that it probably it was a beautiful. Ice on my neck doesn't come in. I'm a pretty boy. I'm stunning. Super speed Sonic, I'm running. Super speed Sonic, I'm running. Call me Big Papa, I'm Sonic. It was a beautiful suite, and it was a good location. And I'm thinking maybe this entity liked that.
I got it. We've got a break. I've got to go. Thanks for the story, though.
Okay. Bye.
I appreciate it. Take care. Well, whatever it was real. That's the one thing I know. It was real. This is Midnight in the Desert. It was of qualify something. When I said real, maybe I shouldn't have said real, because whatever it was, I couldn't run over and grab it, nor would have I done that. But I don't know about real. It was something. It was of some substance. It was, I want to say not of this earth, but I don't know that. It could have been a ghost, could have been a spirit, could have been a hex. I don't know. Well, let's see where to go. Let's try Stephen on Skype. Stephen, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Good to have you.
Really surprised I got on. I just wanted to ask, you were talking about Dr. Greer before, and I actually wanted to ask you a question.
Did you hear what he said?
Yes, I did. I'm actually, the reason I listened to your show is actually because I'm actually a big fan of Dr. Greer.
Yes, sir.
He's really, what got me into, like, I guess, ETs in general.
Right.
I actually just wanted to know your opinion on, what, like, is, like, the new things that you're saying that he's saying.
Well, first of all, for goodness sakes, that is what he said. I played it. It came from YouTube. So he he absolutely said it. I mean,
his message has like changed.
Yes.
More recently.
Yes, and I have to have him on and hear it. But what he did say shocked the hell out of me. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
He is in essence telling us, look, SETI got a real signal. They kept it secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's no minor matter.
No.
So have we heard already from them is the question.
It's very true. Very true.
All right.
And I guess you'd have to wonder, really, if they did receive, like they said, like a different type of signal.
Yeah. How would you summarize what Dr. Greer is saying now versus what he said all those years ago?
I think his understanding of the subject has evolved just like everyone else's.
I think he believes they are A, already here.
Absolutely.
And B, he's much more interested in having communication with them than he is in doing the things he did years ago.
Absolutely. What I've gleaned from what he said is that he's more interested in less interested in disclosure because he doesn't think that's really a viable possibility. Or not so much that, but so much as he thinks that.
You know, that's what we were going to do tonight. We were going to have Stephen Bassett on, right? He's been working on this disclosure project for years and years and years. And frankly, I was going to ask him at the beginning of the interview, Stephen, while I applaud your efforts, I don't think we're ever going to know. It's never going to be disclosed unless, I don't know, unless some president comes forward, maybe Trump. Somebody who is, just immune to the talk. And maybe Trump would be immune to the talk that all presidents are apparently given.
I mean, maybe. I don't really think Donald Trump will be elected, despite the fact that I think he's probably the best GOP candidate that's there.
It's all fun watching anyway. I just can't.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the debate.
Favorite time, man. Yeah. It's election season. It's always great.
All right, brother. Thank you very much for the call and take care. It's going to be, I just can't wait for the debate. Unfortunately, it's going to be one with rules. You know it is, right? Debate's going to have rules. You can speak for 1 minute, Mr. Candidate, and then, or 3 minutes, and then so-and-so over there will have 1 minute to rebut what you said. And then, if necessary, we'll give you 30 seconds to rebut what he said. Bummer debate. I want a real debate. And, oh, by the way, while we're on the subject of debates, I'm supposed to have one coming. Now, this may sound laughable to some of you, but I'm telling you it's no laughing matter. There are people out there who believe with religious fervor that our Earth is flat, that the scientists are all wet, they bring with them evidence, they think the Earth is flat, and they say they can prove it. And so I thought, okay, fine, great. Bring on one of these devotees. Let's get a scientist. Let's have a real debate. That'd be a real debate. I'd love to see one on TV, too, wouldn't you? With only 2 or 3 candidates when it's finally narrowed down to that. God, I'd like to see the real thing. All right, let's go to the phones and somebody calling themselves Dimensional.
Hi, this is actually Nathan from Austin.
Hey, Nathan.
Hi. I actually had a story. I grew up in Michigan, and I was about in middle school, I think, and me and my friend were staying up late, and I was looking out the window, and I saw this. He lived on a Christmas tree farm, pine trees.
Right.
And I looked out the window, and I saw this black figure jump from one pine tree to another. It kind of looked like a person.
Right.
And I told my friend, hey, look, I just saw this thing. Do you know anything about it? And he said no. So I thought it was crazy, so I kept watching it, and I saw it again. So I was like, what's going on here? So I told my friend again, and we started watching for like maybe an hour or so.
Right.
And then we saw another one. So I was like, hey, let's go wake up your dad, because I was kind of afraid. And his dad was kind of like he was a farmer, so he would have been mad we were up late, and he probably would have made the situation worse because he had a bit of a temper. So we kept looking, and we saw it again. It's like, all right. So we eventually woke up his dad, and he went out on the porch and looked around with the flashlight and everything, and he didn't see anything. So the next night we go out there, and there's a bunch of foot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see if we can get him back. You still there? Huh. We lost him somehow. I'm so sorry. That happens. You just suddenly get cut off. Sorry about that. Let's try Cameron. Hello, Cameron.
Good evening, Art. How am I coming in?
You're coming in okay. And that last caller is welcome to call back, and, the rule is suspended for him. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, go ahead, Cameron.
Well, yeah. Just sitting here having a beer, thinking about the shadow people thing that you're talking about, and it's kind of funny. I've seen things before, too, but everything runs on frequencies. If you have the right adjustment of electromagnetic energy, you can see the aurora. Infrasound, that could have an effect on what you saw, because some people with the right lighting, if they have a certain type of infrasound, like the sound that you hear in a lion's roar, is also the same sound made by a tornado.
Okay, here's my theory, and you're welcome to either reject it or explore it. It is that once you've stared at a computer screen long enough with that refresh frequency.
Well, that's what I was getting to. It might not be that. It could be something electromagnetic with the screen or the lighting. But like, what was it, Van Gogh or somebody who painted all those pictures with the eerie blue hue to it?
Right.
Or no, Claude Monet, that's what it was. I have it pulled up here. Yeah, they had this really eerie blue hue. And if you mess with the human eye just enough, for instance, with severe cataracts, you can see ultraviolet light.
Uh-huh.
So it could be that it does mess with people's eyes.
It could be that these, whatever they are, appear in ultraviolet and are not seen.
Well, maybe not ultraviolet, but what I'm saying is everything runs on frequencies, and it could be that it adjusts your eyesight and your perception. Just like people who take the DMT stuff, they can see these machine-eld entities that hop in and out of them and mess with their heads.
Well, that adjusts everything, really adjusts you.
Everything runs on frequencies. So one frequency, something should transfer from energy to matter, for instance.
Well, I don't want it to do that. It was all enough matter for me. I could see through it, so it wasn't matter. And frankly, if it had turned into matter, I'd have been going for the gun right away. Oh, God, it scared me.
Another quick thing before you hang up. You know that Forrest Bird, he was an inventor that invented the iron lung that saved all those polio kids. He died just the other day.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And
if you'll take the time to look into them when you're not busy.
Right. Thank you very, very much for the call. When I'm not busy. Goodness, when is that? When you do a radio program, you're pretty busy a lot of the time. Going outside the country, I think to Ireland. Hello there.
Hello. My name's Liam, calling from Cork, Ireland, correct?
Cork, Ireland. And you're bored. It says bored.
Yeah, I said that a long time ago. I was
really?
Bored that day, as you can imagine.
So you were having a bad day, and so you put your emotion up there.
Yep, pretty much.
All right.
It's 10:06, many Roswells.
Right, thank you. So you've been listening. You know what we're talking about. Do you see this sort of thing there?
Next to my computer, I have a picture, and you can kind of see in the background through my window, my back garden. And one or two times, I think I might have seen something black out there, but when I look, it's gone. So could have been anything. Anyway, I was wondering about ghost matter. If there's nothing set in stone, would you think about Midnight in the Cemetery or something like that?
Oh, you mean for the ghost show?
Yeah.
Midnight in the Cemetery is pretty good.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
But, the traditional name has been Ghost to Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Which,
of course, came from Coast to Coast. As you can imagine, that's how I found you.
Well, it's a good point. Midnight in the graveyard. I will take that under advisement. And maybe I'll change it. Of course, we're not technically in a graveyard, and given the opportunity to do a remote from a graveyard, I don't think I would.
I wouldn't either. Probably not on Halloween night.
Is one question? Yes, is Ireland a ghost-like place?
Some say it's, now I'm quoting people, but some say it's one of the most haunted countries on the planet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard. All right, well, listen.
I haven't seen much. It's very nice.
Count your lucky Irish stars. That's what I would say.
So far, I don't have any.
All right, thank you very much. You know, one of the cool things about being on the program is that there is about a 30-second time differential between when we actually talk to you live and then when you finish your call. If you turn your radio on or your stream or whatever, you will hear your call. You'll hear the last at least 30 seconds of your call. So once again, that gentleman from Ireland, if you're outside the country, we'd love to have you. You're probably, if it's in Europe, having a cup of coffee right now or tea. And you're welcome to call us at MITD55 on Skype, MITD55. Let us go to, well, no, we better not. I guess I better get it out of the way. We've got a break coming up, so let me do that. We're in open lines, and we're talking about anything you want. Now, I did bring up us into a bit of a discussion about shadow people, because it's the only way to put it. So it goes in now to the bin of experiences that I've had in my life that count as, I guess, paranormal. And outside the country somewhere, you are on the air. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I'll tell you what. Get good and close to, like, the microphone part of your computer, if you would.
Okay. My name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm calling from Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Excellent. Welcome to the program.
I'm going to make this real quick because I do childcare, and I just had to give you a call. I had an incident back in 2006 where I woke up in the middle of the night. I think it was around 2 a.m. and there was a very tall, dark creature standing between myself and the television. I was in bed.
Michelle,
TV.
Did it have form, or what kind of form did you see?
Yes, it had form. It had a long cloak on, and it had a hood.
Oh.
It nearly reached the ceiling of my bedroom, and it said, everything will be all right, go back to sleep. And with that, I went back to sleep.
Really?
And when I woke in the morning, I could not understand why I went to sleep, as I was terrified.
I'm with you.
Absolutely terrified.
Obviously, It put you to sleep.
Yes, it did.
And
most definitely.
Probably the kindest thing it could have done for you.
Yes, I think so.
It sounds like your charges are climbing the wall, actually.
Yes, they are. Sorry. As soon as you want to make a call, they want to come inside. But I've had many other experiences, unnatural experiences, or natural, I'm not sure. But that one was very concerning to me.
I bet it was. What would you, if you had to guess about what was that? An entity, a ghost, a shadow person?
It had solid form. It was there. I don't think it was a ghost. Somehow, I don't think it was a shadow person. To this day, I don't know what it was. And I'll tell you of another experience is when I was in my early 20s. I was living in the city in Sydney with my boyfriend. And I woke up one morning, went and had a shower, and I found a whole lot of squiggles. So, like somebody had been drawing with red texture or red pen on my stomach. Now, I'm a black girl, and so, but it was very, very bright.
Wow.
And I thought it was my boyfriend. So I got out of the shower, went and woke him up, and I said, "What were you doing in the middle of the night drawing on my stomach?"
Right.
I was very angry. And he said, "Don't be ridiculous. I did nothing of the kind." But what was most peculiar was that all my life I had an outie belly button, very predominantly out. And from that moment on, he said, "What happened to your belly button?" It was gone.
Wow, a positive experience. Kind of.
No, I was happy with my outie. Thank you very much.
I love it. All right, thank you so much for the call.
Oh, I'm very surprised that I got through. First time I tried, so thank you.
Right, you call again. Thank you. Pretty easy to get through if you're outside the U.S. and Canada because, there's just not as many people. If you think about it, in Europe, for example, it's very early morning right now. It's easier for the Aussies, the Japanese, maybe people in Hong Kong to get through, maybe Thailand. We're at a better time of day there. Who wants to call a talk show when they're just, sitting at the kitchen table with their first cup of tea or something like that? So, all right, so where to go? Let's go to, I think, Buffalo, New York. You are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
Like everyone, so happy that you're back.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back. You just don't know.
Yeah, well, we've missed you. Two things. The other day you were talking about the car out of your window. It was going to be hit.
Yes.
And I tried calling in how you had that strong, strong feeling.
Sure.
And I wanted to mention the fact that I had that one time about 30 years ago where I was keeping score at the bowling alleys, and the little voice said, buy a ticket for the 50-50 split.
Right.
And I never spent money on it. And so I bought 2 tickets, and everybody was like, well, who's the winner? Who's the winner? And I go, I am. And they were like, well, how do you know? And I go, well, the ticket's in my pocket. I just know. And I did win. So that confirms your story with the car. But as far as the ghost thing, there's a place in south of Buffalo. It's Jamestown, and it's called Lilydale.
Right.
I've gone there for seminars. And when you're dealing with spiritualism and mediumship, and they have prayers that you can open the door to communication, and they train you to become intuitive. I mean, we all are. But there's a prayer, and I don't know if do you want me to give you the prayer over the air?
I'll tell you what. Email it to me.
I don't have a computer.
I'm
willing.
willing.
It's a real simple one. You surround yourself with God's white. I always say a prayer when I'm driving. Almighty God, surround me with the white light of your protection 3 times for body, soul, and mind.
How about praying to keep those idiots away from me?
Well, and the thing is that when I have dreams,
my problem, I always reach out with the negative,
You reach out and you send them back to, if they don't come with the highest good and your best interest and intention, you can empower yourself and send them back. If they don't come with the highest good for your intention.
Let's put it this way. When you're doing 65 miles an hour, let's say, on the highway,
mm-hmm.
somebody passes you doing about 80, and then they slow down in front of you to about 50.
Mm-hmm.
I want to send them somewhere, but nowhere good.
Well, you know what? That's where it's kind of crazy. You can call me nuts, but when I surround myself with the white light, I'm on the thruway, and I go 60. Speed limit's 55. I'm not going crazy, but they're all passing me anyway, even if I am going 5 over. But when I'm driving, it's uncanny how I'll look in the rear view, I'll look in the front, and I probably have about a 4-car space in front and behind me.
That's good.
I don't know what it is, but it's crazy how I have a circle around me. They're driving. There's 20 in front, there's 20 behind, but I've got a circle of freedom around me.
Okay, so you think that circle of protection keeps trouble away.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's either that. Thank you very, very much for the call. It's either that or, I don't know, like a machine gun mounted in the right place, which everybody who drives a lot wants.
Well, you.
I'm sorry, that's just me. That's really just me.
All right, you're being funny and you're being,
Actually, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm being serious. I don't have a positive attitude about it. If someone does that to me, it's like I could strangle them. I could, with my bare hands, watch the breath go out of their bodies.
Yeah, that's not good, though.
I know.
Not good, but you can practice it. You can surround yourself with white light. You can any negative coming your way, return to sender.
Yeah, I mean, the only white light I want to see is the tail end of a Stinger missile headed toward them. I appreciate your efforts anyway. I'll give it a try. And listen, if white light works, if good, wonderful vibrations actually do the trick, I'm willing to give it a try. Thank you very much for the call. I think we're going to Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Hello, Art.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm fine. Perplexed, but fine. Fine.
Glad to hear that. Well, my name is Matt, and I am calling from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And I just want to start by saying that it is an extreme honor to be able to speak with you. So thank you very much for taking my call.
It's an honor to be here to take it. Believe me, I'm so glad to be here.
Well, everyone is so glad that you're back, so thank you for that as well.
All right.
But I just wanted to briefly discuss with you about a possible guest that I would love to have you speak with.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure you might have heard of her. Her name is Dr. Judy Wood. And she is a PhD, and she's a brilliant woman. She has I don't think theory is quite the right word. She's come to believe through her own examination, through her own expertise, that the World Trade Center was destroyed by a high energy weapon, a free energy weapon.
The World Trade Centers, really, but we have all these high-resolution photographs of the airplanes crashing into them.
Well, she doesn't really speak so much about the airplanes. I know with 9/11, there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of differing opinions.
Oh, you're right about that, and there are, but we do have incontrovertible video proof of what hit them.
Right. Well, be that as it may, she discusses more about the collapse and what happened. I'm sure you're familiar with the Hutchinson effect. Did you ever speak with John Hutchinson?
Oh, yes.
Okay, right, yeah. She references the Hutchinson effect, and believe me, her research and her looking into this is so extensive. I wouldn't be able to do it justice here with this few short minutes that I have with you, but she's a fascinating guest. She's also caught the eye of many people, including Richard C. Hoagland, who's looked into this, and I don't know if you can say that he is a convert to her line of thinking, but I mean, it definitely, caught his attention.
Well, are you aware of the fact that he's got a show that follows mine?
Absolutely. Art, I used to fall asleep listening to you. Now I force myself to stay awake till 3 a.m. and I fall asleep to Richard. So he's got the pleasure now of being the one to lullaby me to sleep, so to speak.
I'm not sure if I should be honored or I think I am. In other words, you now stay awake for me and fall asleep with Richard.
I do. Nothing against Richard. It's just, the human body can only stay awake for so long. And, your program is can't miss in my book. So.
Okay. All right. Well, bless your heart. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate your call and listen.
Tell us what you think about our new twist on soft serve, Twist.
Listen to Richard. He'll be here when I'm all done. All right?
Very good. I just want to say real quickly, I think it's important to say that Dr. Wood doesn't go into so much the who or the why. She just goes into the what.
Gotcha. All right. I've got to go on that. We'll be right back. This is Midnight in the Desert.
this happen, and she still has not been able to get a straight. For Dark Matter News, I'm Leo Ashcraft. A woman in the UK who underwent a hysterectomy said she woke from surgery to find her doctor had removed 2 of her front teeth. Claire Jones, 47, of Newcastle, says she cannot believe that this happened, and she still has not been able to get a straight answer from the hospital. Before the July 15th procedure, Jones had signed a declaration informing doctors at Royal Stroke University Hospital that she had 1 denture, which was then taken out. Doctors allegedly could not account for her additional missing teeth, which has now led to an investigation. A new jaw-dropping up-close video displays the eruption of the Piton de la Fournaise volcano, located on Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean near Madagascar. New footage of the eruption, which prompted evacuation on Friday, shows the fiery rivers of lava running down the slopes. The eruption lasted for 3 days before ending on Sunday, shortly after 11 a.m. local time. This is a World Heritage Site and is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. The volcanic activity hampered the work of Malaysian investigators examining suspected debris of the MH370 flight found by beachcombers on Reunion Island on Wednesday. Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 went missing on March 8, 2014, with 239 people on board, shortly after taking off from the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur en route to Beijing. Its disappearance prompted a massive international search lasting more than a year in the South Indian Ocean, the China Sea, and the Gulf of Thailand. An ex-aerospace worker came forward and admitted that the chemtrail devices that are being installed on airplanes are actually being installed, and the fact that he was one of the installers. And he goes on to share details about what they installed. He said they gutted the plane, mounted the tanks, installed the cables and lines and spraying devices. He says he was a civilian worker supervised by the military. When they were finished, they were told that this was a test conducted by the German Aeronautics and Space Administration, meaning that the plane with spraying devices goes ahead while a second plane with measuring devices flies behind and conducts measurements. He said when they were finished with the installation, guys from the military came over and instructed them to wear full body protective clothing and breathing masks because they were now going to fill the tanks, and that the substances like aluminum sulfides or barium oxides would contain highly toxic nanoparticle-sized polymers. For additional information on chemtrails and the full story from World Truth TV, visit darkmatternews.com. Scientists have made the world's first white laser light. Since being invented in 1960, lasers have been put to use in all sorts of applications, from computers and printers to fiber optics and surgery. But for this entire period, there was one thing in particular that lasers simply could not do: produce white light. Now, a team of researchers has finally announced that they've managed just that, creating a device that can emit in any color across the visible spectrum, a requirement for white lasers. Normally, lasers can only produce a single wavelength, meaning that they are restricted to one particular color of light. This color is dictated by the structure of the semiconductor, which is usually a solid chemical element or compound arranged into crystals, and is what produces the light when a voltage is applied to it. The team of researchers from Arizona State University have been able to create a semiconductor that has 3 different sections, which, when stimulated, emit red, green, and blue, and thus combine to form white. The milestone puts lasers closer to eventually becoming a mainstream light source, brighter and more energy efficient. They could replace LEDs and even be used to make more accurate and vivid colors on computer and television screens. In addition, technology is under development to create light-based wireless communication, known as Li-Fi, which could potentially be more than 10 times faster than Wi-Fi. I'm Leo Ashcraft for Dark Matter News.
And with that, we'll leave our bell for tonight. Come on back for part 3 tomorrow. Till then, like, share, and subscribe, be kind to one another, and release the Krakens as we march along this overnight and every overnight here from day one. Have a great night's sleep. We'll see you tomorrow.